And the award for Best New Artist goes to... And we're still on.
If you show me, I will do it. Baby, if you teach me how to love you, I will do it. All the pain you've been through, I refuse to take you through it. Baby, if you teach me how to love you, I will do it. I promise I'll prove it. Such a alien.
What's up, cousins? It's your boy, your bro, your favorite cousin, DJ the Singer, and I am back with an actual recap of the 2025 BET Awards. Now, the returning cousins already know the deal, but if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that like button, and go ahead and turn on your notifications so you can be the first to be notified when I drop new videos. So now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this iconic recap of the 2025 annual BET Awards. I think they finally got it right this year. Oh my gosh, it was nostalgic, it was messy, it was historic in the best way. It took me back to a time where I was excited to watch music videos. I couldn't wait to go to the record store and buy the latest album. Tweet, Ashanti, Ja Rule. I mean, it was a moment. Do y'all remember Sidekicks? Cedar's World, Rap City. We're gonna get into all of it. So let me start by saying I missed probably the first 5 minutes of the show. I was on the phone cussing out Xfinity because they told me that I had a package that would give me access to the BET Awards, and they lied. So I had to go through some third-party app in order to stream it, but we finally got it going when Ashanti got on the screen. And let me tell y'all something. Ashanti looks the real good. You hear me? Pregnancy where? Daughter got on stage and shut it down. I remember when Ashanti's debut album hit. That was one album that I could play beginning to end and not skip a track. Matter of fact, those first few albums were albums that you could play all the way through and not skip a track. It was good to see Jim Jones perform. I remember when the song We Fly High, No Lie, and you know it, ballin'. Like, we were all out there balling. Like, listen, it was a time, okay? It was a time. Maya shut it down with her performance, A Case of the X. Amerie came and shut it down. She looked absolutely incredible. I saw her Tiny Desk earlier this week, and I saw that a lot of people were giving her a lot of flack about her vocals. What a lot of people don't know about being a singer, people think that you just pick up a mic and you just go. But when you're a singer, you're literally an athlete, just in a different frame of mind. You literally have to warm up. You have to practice. You have to take care of your instrument. It's an instrument. And before Amerie was signed, a lot of people don't know that she suffered a couple of hemorrhages on her vocal cords, which is where the raspy tones come from. So while they were trying to crack on her vocals, listen, I'll take Amerie over a good bit of what we call singers nowadays. Amerie got on stage, and for somebody to be in their 40s and be able to knock a lot of these 20-somethings out the park, you got it. You got it. And let's not act like Amerie wasn't giving us bops in the early 2000s. Y'all know y'all were out there whenever Why Don't We Fall in Love came on, you were bopping your head, or if One Thing came on. I'm a music head, so the internationally released Because I Love It. Like, listen, if you haven't heard it, When Loving You Was Easy, Paint Me Over, bops, okay? I want to zoom in on Keyshia Cole for a minute. I remember when Keyshia Cole first hit the scene. I remember being at a family cookout and Never featuring Eve came on the radio. And I was like, who is this? This was during the era of mixed CDs and Kazaa and Frostwire, LimeWire. If you were there, you know. And I remember there was an advance of a few of the songs from her debut album. I remember hearing I Just Want It to Be Over. I remember I Changed My Mind. We Could Be. I Should Have Cheated. There's a whole other version. Same thing with Love. There's a whole other version of it. And I remember just being so enamored with who she was, her imaging, her vocals, the lyrics, just everything. Keyshia over time has drastically improved as a performer. She has improved drastically as a vocalist. But tonight, I don't know what happened, because when she came in with I Shoulda Cheated, the first note out the gate was flat. When she performed with Glorilla, the vocals fell kind of flat. And I'm like, now not the whole performance, because she did get it together towards the middle. But I was like, Keish, what's going on? You getting ready to go on at least a 20-city tour. What's going on, sis? What's going on? Somebody send her a DM and tell her to unblock me. Real quick, the backstory is, when Keyshia was preparing the Point of No Return album, there were a few things going on at that time. Keyshia was going through a divorce. She also was going through some transitions with her label. There were new people at the label, and a lot of the people that were there at the beginning of her career were no longer there. So there was a shift going on there. There was a shift happening creatively. You know, just her whole brand, her whole team was changing. And somebody in the comments, Keyshia posted a picture of her on the set of the Niggas Like You video. Somebody in the comments said that she looked like Jay-Z with a wig on. And being the Keyshia stan that I am, I went off. And next thing I knew, I was blocked. I even remixed her song, You. If you haven't heard it, it's on my YouTube channel.
Said you were tired of being hurt by fuck niggas. Tried to give you all my love and you rejected, nigga. Always living in the past, disrespecting, nigga. Forgot you had a real man, not a bitch, nigga.
Go look it up. DJ featuring Keyshia Cole, Remy Ma, French Montana, whatever. You, the remix. I was really devastated by that, because Keyshia's my girl. Keyshia is one of the few artists that I've bought every single album. I've gone to the store. I've paid my hard-earned money. Like, she's that girl. I just was not crazy about this particular performance. But she looked good. She has preserved herself. You talk about a glow up. Keyshia has definitely glown up. I know that's not a word, but yeah, she really has. Maya came out and performed. Maya is a performer, okay? Maya got out there and performed those hits and looked good doing it. In conjunction with Taraji, sis said, I'm not about to let anybody's unhealed son stress me out. She ran out there, married herself on the beach, got with this vegan lifestyle, and has been lit ever since. A highlight from the show was seeing all of the old hosts from 106 in Park. The only person that was missing was AJ, but I remember being 10, 11 years old and getting out of school for the day, or being on summer vacation, and I'm supposed to be outside because my mama was not letting us stay in the house and watch videos all day. But I remember literally turning on BET and you would see the countdown. Everybody from Aaliyah, Lil Mo, Bow Wow, who also performed at the start of the show and gave an incredible performance. I just remember those moments, and I just remember being just so blown away by seeing these people on this show and wanting to be just like them. You would have random moments where Whitney Houston would just appear out of nowhere. When AJ and Free left, I felt like a family member was moving out of the country. We had gotten so accustomed to them. And so they brought in these new hosts. Oh yeah, Keyshia Shantae wasn't there. Keyshia Shantae wasn't there, and I feel like I'm missing somebody else. But yeah, it just was never the same after AJ and Free. I mean, you had Jalissa and Tigger that came behind them, and then you had Roxy and Terrence. And don't get me wrong, like they did well. They did well as the host, but it was nothing like AJ and Free. So it was good to see all of them. I wasn't too crazy about some of the wardrobe choices, specifically Free, but hey, if you liked it, I loved it. Another thing, it was good to see B2K perform. It was good to see them put aside the shenanigans. And if you know, you know. It was good to see them all together again. I remember when B2K first hit the scene. When I tell you, you couldn't tell me nothing. Got to be the only one you fight. Got to be the one that makes it right. Listen, that was my That was my cut. That was the one. Okay, moving on. But what I want to know from you guys, I want to know who y'all felt should have been on that stage performing that was out in the audience. For me, I can definitely tell you I wanted to see LaToya Luckett perform something. I did. I wanted to also see Melanie Fiona on that stage because she dropped an EP earlier this year. It would have been great to see her on that stage. Where was Coco Jones? Monica and Brandy have a tour, allegedly, coming later this year. Where were they? This would have been a perfect opportunity for them to promote the tour. I'm going to say this because I just feel like for all that's going on in reference to Diddy, I feel like right now would have been a perfect time. Would have been a perfect time. I don't know where they would have been placed in the show, but I remember them being on 106 in Park. It would have been great to see Day 26. It would have been great to see all of the members of Danity Kane. While the likelihood of them performing together as a quintet is literally slim to impossible, I can dream. Listen, I am a Danity Kane stan. I would have loved to see Danity Kane, and I'm just gonna hold out my little bag of hope and just hope that at some point they can come back together. Another thing in regards to Bow Wow's performance, he performed Like You. I would have really liked to see him do that with Ciara. Now, I know back in the day they had their issues, and now Ciara's a married woman. They both live two totally different lives. And I don't know, you know, I'm not one for causing conflict, but it just would have been nice for the culture to see them perform that record live together one more time. It was good to see Jermaine Dupri and Bow Wow because in the past they've had their issues too. I don't know, tonight was just an issue where it was like seemingly everybody was putting all their BS to the side. I guess we got so much BS going on in today's culture, which I'm also going to touch on later on. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but there were a few points in the show that I do want to point out that speak to what's happening right now, not just in LA, but across the world. I'm looking at my notes. Just a few notable moments. Cam Newton, Ashley Nicole Moss, they were presenters. Quinta Brunson and Tyler James Williams presented the award for Best Female Hip Hop Artist, which went to Doechii. And I have to say, it was well deserved. She looked really good in this all red ensemble that she had on. And I don't know if it's just me, but Doechii sounds completely different than how I thought she would. She does not look the way that she speaks. And I know that sounds so shady, but I really mean it in the best way. Her speaking voice is totally different than what I thought it was. I also appreciated her moment in her speech where she talked about how every time Black people try to protest, why is it that they always want to call the military? Why is it that they always want to get the police involved? Y'all are not, let's just call a thing. Y'all are not that threatened, and I'm sick of it. I have to be honest. I'm sick of seeing it, and I'm sure you guys are sick of seeing it too. She also used her moment to speak up not just for gay people, not just for trans people, not just for Black people, but all people, because we all need each other in this particular season of life. Baby, Leon Thomas came out and blazed the stage, okay? Now, I'm very picky about singers. Being a singer, I like singers. Like, if you gonna get that microphone, I need you to do something with it. And when I tell you that Leon Thomas came out on that stage, and I got all the feels. A lot of today's music does not make me feel anything. I don't feel anything. But Leon came out with that guitar, and he started singing, I'm a dog, I'm a man. I was like, okay, listen, make me believe what you're saying. I'm here for it. Listen, I'm a dog too. I was with it. I was totally with it. So that was definitely one of my favorite moments of the show. Leon also won Best New Artist. That award was presented by Dion Cole and Dominique Thorpe. Listen, I like music from the ancestors. And the award for Best New Artist goes to... And we're still on. That was definitely one of my favorite moments. Definitely one of the comedic moments of the show. Speaking of Ciara, she came out and introduced BET Amplified artist Raven Lenae. Let me tell you something. Miss Wilson is always going to give you a look. She's so classy, so poised, so demure. The song that Raven Lenae performed, I didn't quite catch the name of it, so if anybody knows, please put it down in the comments because I would love to add it to my playlist. That song is the type of song that you steal somebody's Jeep from the Piggly Wiggly and just hop on the interstate and speed through the Sahara Desert listening to it. I felt so free just hearing new sounds. She definitely is an artist that is an acquired taste, which is probably why the audience just didn't receive her the way that I felt like they should have. But I definitely want to add her to my playlist. So if any of y'all know that song, send it my way. DC Young Fly came and presented an award. And matter of fact, was he a co-host? Because he seemingly assisted Kevin Hart throughout the course of the show. I also appreciated the Rap City segment. I remember Rap City coming on in the afternoons. I would come home from school and you were bound to see anybody on there. You would see Freeway on there. You might see Ludacris on there. You would see Cameron on there. I remember there was an episode, Miss Jade was on there. And speaking of rappers, where was Missy? And I'm gonna get into Missy in just a little bit because there's a part that happened in the show later on that I felt like would have been a perfect insert for her, but we'll get to that. Anderson .Paak came and introduced one of my all-time favorite artists, Miss Mariah Carey. He started her segment out with some of her hits, Honey, Heartbreaker, Fantasy, and then she performed the new single, Type Dangerous. The only thing that I felt like Mariah was missing, I felt like her movement could have been a little bit more fluid, but y'all are gonna give Mariah a break, okay? What y'all don't know is around the Me I Am Mariah era, Mariah fell when she was out of the country. She was shooting a video with Miguel. Mariah fell and she cracked a rib, she chipped her shoulder bone. She really went through a tough, traumatic time. And on top of that, not only did she recently lose her sister and her mom on the same day, but she also lost her man that she had been with for almost a decade. And she's bipolar. It's the medication. In addition to the medication, I read somewhere that she has some other health issues. Give that woman a break. Give Mariah Carey some grace, okay? Mariah has been giving us hit after hit after hit after hit for 30 years. If she wants to stand on stage and give us a cute little pose, I like them dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she want to do that, let her do it. Like, I was living for it. I felt like the only thing she was missing was a grand poodle, you know, to make it pop. But hey, I was not mad at it. And I definitely wasn't mad at the remix that we got at the end. I knew she said we were going to get a feature. And so I was glad to see it. Followed by Mariah's performance, Crystal Renee came and presented Best Pop R&B Female Artist. SZA won, but I was actually shocked for a couple of reasons. First of all, I don't know why they were acting like SZA wasn't there. I don't know if she went to the restroom during that segment or what, but SZA was there. She had no reason other than being in the restroom, we'll just say that, why she couldn't accept that award. And I was also surprised because I honestly thought Summer was gonna take home that award. Not only because Summer is one of the more popular R&B girlies, but also when Heart of a Woman came out, you could not escape that song. All you would have to hear was that beat drop, and it was only thing that's saving you. And we were in. It has like that 90s feel to it. I thought Summer was taking it home, but apparently they thought otherwise. It was good to see Lil Wayne. I remember when Lil Wayne's career actually popped off. I remember Lil Wayne being in a group. But I remember when Lil Wayne went solo and that whole mixtape era started. And next thing you knew, it was the Carter. I remember being in my 9th grade graphic arts class. And that's literally all we listened to. And while it was good to see Lil Wayne, his performance, it was a little questionable. I know years ago he told us to stop asking what's in that cup. What's in his cup is his business. Okay, cool. But my bigger question is, what's everybody's fascination with going to hell? And he wasn't the only one with a performance like that. And I'll get to that later on because I love Tiana down, but even certain parts of her performance were a little questionable, but whatever, we'll get to that. There was the Real Husbands of Hollywood segment. I know to a lot of people it might have been confusing if you didn't watch the show. I watched a few episodes. I thought it was comical when it was on. I could have done without that segment. And there's another segment with Kai Cenat and Drewski. Not only could I have done without it, but I also felt like the diabetic jokes. Not only could that be taken the wrong way, but maybe I'm just sensitive to people who are diabetic because diabetes runs in my family. A good chunk of my family members are diabetics. And so that's not something to play about, especially when you have moments where their blood sugar is too low or it gets too high. That's nothing to joke about. Another thing, BET has gotten real lax with their censorship. Because I remember at one point, you couldn't even say damn on the BET Awards. They would bleep it out. But now you can literally get away with saying just about anything. I'm actually slightly surprised. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm approaching unk age. I don't know. But I'm just a firm believer about having respect. I would not even curse in front of my mother because I'm fearful of what she might do. Gloria Hallelujah did not come to play. Daughter is a performer. And from certain angles, I don't know if y'all saw it, but I caught it. She was giving Lil Mama tease. She looked like Lil Mama. Keyshia Cole came out and performed in the second half of her segment. And like I said, it just, maybe I just didn't like the song, but listen, my thing is this. I like original music, but if you are going to sample a record, make sure that the sample is done justice. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. Throughout the course of the award show, BET recognized fallen stars, Wanda Smith, Cissy Houston, Roy Ayers, Angie Stone. And I'm gonna get into that tribute later because when I tell you Brittany Collins and them background singers, the best rendition I have heard up until this point. If I could download that version, I would. And I would add it to my playlist because I got all the feels. As a professional background singer, if you don't know, I currently sing backgrounds for Kelly Price, but I've also done Sunday service with Kanye. I've also done backgrounds for James Wright Chanel from Patty Pies. And so as a background singer, like just hearing them blend all the feels. But this Secret Garden tribute, Miles Catan, Luke James, and Lucky Day. Secret Garden is one of my all-time favorite old school numbers. Love that song. And while there were peaks, I'm gonna just be honest. I just didn't like it. I was available, but I just didn't like it. I tried. I really did. And it just didn't hit for me. When Stevie Wonder came out, did they boo? Or did I just hear that? And I love his sense of humor. Stevie was like, when I was in the back editing this part of the show, what you talking about, Stevie? I always knew that man could see. But in this moment, I really just want to stress the importance of creatives like Stevie and Quincy. These are living legends. Like our grandparents listened to them at the start of their careers. And while Quincy is not living, like Quincy paved the way. Stevie paved the way. It was just good to see him and seemingly in good health. If there was ever a moment in the show that made me extremely emotional, if you knew all that Jamie Foxx had gone through in the last year or so, you would understand how important he is to the culture, how important that moment was. Anytime you go through something traumatic, sometimes it's to get your attention. Sometimes it's to bring you closer to God. But just hearing him talk about his experience and him saying, God, if you just give me one more chance, I'll get it right. Unless you've been in a situation like that, it won't make sense. Unless you've been in a situation where you have had to say to God, like, if you just give me one more chance, I'm going to do right. Like, that hit home. And there's even another part in the show where Tyler Perry was introducing his new show, Divorce Sisters. I'll probably get into that and do a review on it if y'all want me to. But Tyler talked about footprints. and the legacy that Black people lead. One thing that Tyler said that spoke to me so loudly was, don't let your stresses be louder than your faith. I'm not gonna go into detail, but if y'all knew what the last 6 to 8 months of my life have been like, when I tell y'all, if anybody asked me how I was doing, I would probably break down in tears and I would say that I was stressed. That would be literally the first thing out of my mouth. And so for Tyler to say that, that spoke volumes to me. And that tribute to Jamie, oh my God, Babyface, Jennifer Hudson, Tank. Oh, when I tell you I missed Jennifer, I missed Jennifer's vocals, okay? I don't know what we need to do to get Jennifer back in the studio, but I need a 4th album from her. I know she was working on something at one point, but I need album 4. I need album 4. But it was also good to hear some old school music. Nighttime is the Right Time and I Got a Woman by Ray Charles. Oh my God. And to hear the throwback Jamie Foxx hits, sold. Marcus Houston introduced Elmony. Baby, when I tell you that man can sing, the song he performed is called Crystal Tears. R&B, okay? If you haven't heard it, add it to your playlist. You'll thank me later. Cousins, one thing that I am gonna do, I am gonna put y'all onto new music. So I got y'all. Don't worry, I won't leave you out. The next skit was Kevin Hart as Usher. It was so good to see Tisha Campbell and Tashina Arnold. If there's ever a relationship that's relationship goals, it's Tashina and Tisha. When I tell you they've been friends for forever and will probably be friends for forever. For forever. Why didn't y'all get Tisha to sing Still Here? I'm still here, here. Listen, y'all played. Y'all played with Tisha and Pam was about to start pamming, okay? If you know, you know. And then Kevin goes over to Kerry Washington and they have their little exchange. And Kerry's like, Kevin, stop. We're still grinding. We're still going. We're still going. Kerry introduced Tiana. Let me tell y'all something about that Long Time. If you have not seen my review of Long Time, go check that out. Also, check out my review of Mariah Carey's new single, Type Dangerous. Both of those are on my channel. I lived for Tiana's performance. Like I said earlier, the beginning had me a little like, but listen, you cannot deny that girl's creativity. She is a visionary. I have not seen her in a position, whether she's creative directing, dancing, singing, acting, and she has flopped. I haven't seen it. You could put that girl in the cornfield and she's probably going to end up being the master and excel. I enjoyed her performance through and through. If you ask me, I feel like her performance was the highlight of the BET Awards 2025. I feel like Tiana was the show. I feel like Tiana came to slay. That performance was Missy Elliott coded. And that version of Long Time was the version that I hope I get to hear on the album. When I heard the single version, that single version was entirely too short for me. I was like, I need you to bring this beat back because that thing had me like, I was in it. And then she brought it back and then the dancers, they were hoo. Baby, take it on home. Take it on home. You got it. Mariah the Scientist then appears on the screen. And I have to admit, I don't know if she, did a little put pass in the back. But she was real mid. She was definitely giving real homegirl. It was random to see her. And she looked great, don't get me wrong. And although I did read about a little incident that occurred at the pre-show, I don't know. Maybe it's for the culture, but I could have done without her segment. That's just me. I will still play Aura when it comes on my playlist. Keke Palmer presented Album of the Year to Kendrick Lamar. And I'm going to tell you something that I thought to be very interesting. I was shocked that this BET Awards, Beyonce didn't get an award. Did anybody else notice that? Normally, Beyonce gets Best Female Artist or Album of the Year or BET Artist of the Year. Even if she's not in attendance, she gets an award. And this year, she did not get an award. And so I didn't know if it was just, BET wasn't messing with her this time, or did y'all really hate that country album? Because I appreciated it. Okay, listen. Riverdance and that transition into Two Hands to Heaven, immaculate. Nobody can tell me anything about Cowboy Carter. Y'all hate on it if you want to. I love country music. And if you ask me, I want all of the unreleased tracks from that album. And prayerfully, in this lifetime, I'll get to hear them. After Reverend Tyler Perry came on screen and gave us a little excerpt about how this current administration is trying to erase Black history, Ledisi came on and performed her hit Black Woman, which is also featured in the Straw film. I'll be doing my review of that later on this week, so please be on the lookout. Diamond White and Xavier Smalls, who also star in Medea's Destination Wedding, which airs July 11th on Netflix, they were having issues reading the teleprompter. Keke Palmer was having issues reading the teleprompter. I don't know if the font was just too small or I don't know. Listen, I'm not here to talk about anybody's literary skills. Sidebar, that Madea film, I watched the trailer. If you haven't seen it, it's available on YouTube and all over the internet. The film looks absolutely hilarious. Definitely check it out. When Busta Rhymes came out to introduce Mariah Carey and present her with the Icon Award, I smiled the entire time. First of all, Busta put that shit on. I didn't understand the money that was sticking out from the brooch. Was it his birthday? I missed it. But he gave Mariah her flowers. And I love the fact that he made everybody in that auditorium stand up for her because she deserved it. I talked about living legends earlier in the recap. Mariah is literally one of the few living legends from the 90s. Give her her things. Jermaine Dupri said earlier this week in an interview that Mariah does not get all of her stuff. The people discredit her, but they will not credit her as a producer or a songwriter. And the disrespect she gets, it just drives me up a wall. I want to shave my eyebrows off and go out in public and start a complete new fashion trend. I want to take my eyeballs out of the sockets, put them in my wallet, and go to the dollar store and buy 2 more. It's insane the way they disrespect this queen. But she came out with so much personality, so classy. She looked like a Disney princess. And speaking of Mariah, when Snoop came out and performed his medley of hits during It Ain't No Fun with Warren G and Corrupt, that would have been the perfect moment for Mariah, the Brat, and Missy to pop out with Heartbreaker, the remix. I would have lived for the moment. I would have lived for the nostalgia. Rainbow was a time. But this recap is not about Mariah Carey, but I just thought that it would have been a great moment. Wishful thinking. Andra Day hit the stage and performed a rendition of Roberta Flack's Killing Me Softly. And when I tell you, she sang it effortlessly. This is what I'm talking about when I say vocalist. This is what I'm talking about when I say musicianship. In order to be a singer, you are always thinking. You have to make smart choices. And her vocal choices, she gets 10s across the board from me. If there was any score higher that I could give her on a scale of 1 to 10, she would be a 35. Dr. Dre presented Snoop Dogg with the Icon Award. One of my fondest memories of Snoop Dogg is the What's My Name video. Who's that riding in the Cadillac? Snoop Dogg. Like that was a moment. That was a moment. His speech was short, but it was to the point. I really loved the shout out to his wife. If you know, you know that family has been through some stuff. And for him to say that Charlie Wilson helped him save his marriage and get his life back and get his wife back. And then Snoop said, if you got somebody special, show them off. Show the world what you got. It was a beautiful moment. Beautiful Black couple. It was good to see Kirk Franklin and his wife in the audience. I didn't see Russell at the award show. I didn't see him in the audience, but I'm sure he was not far behind. Another moment that I loved in Snoop's performance was when he brought out Charlie Wilson. You blow my mind, baby. Listen, That's one of mine. The cast of the upcoming thriller Run, starring Erica Mena, Claudia Jordan, Drew Sidora, and Marcus Houston, came out to present a trailer of the upcoming film. The cast of Divorce Sisters, Lala Anthony, Devon Franklin, and LaToya Luckett all came out to present an award. And the Dr. Bobby Jones Gospel Inspiration Record Award goes to Gloria Hallelujah. Glorilla featuring Kirk Franklin and Maverick City. She got up on that stage and said, now y'all don't be talking about my accent. I love Glorilla. I love her Memphis accent. She's so Memphis, but she seems like a really sweet girl, and she was really deserving of that record. T.I. then came out expeditiously to present the Icon Award to Kirk Franklin, who later performed with the likes of Money Long, Tamar Braxton, and You Can't Perform Stomp without Salt from Salt and Pepper. That's like playing TLC's No Scrubs without playing Lisa's verse. You can't have it. All in all, I felt like this particular BET Awards show was one of the best that they've had in a really long time. While I do like aspects of Kevin Hart, I just would have liked to see a different host. Maybe somebody that was a little bit more funny. Not saying that Kevin does, but I just feel like certain comedians try a little too hard. And I would have liked to see maybe a Ricky Smiley. Is that a stretch? I don't think so. Also, where was Cardi B for this award show? We constantly talk about that second album. I think the BET Awards would have been a great platform to launch that second album. Once again, another missed opportunity, Atlantic. Chris Brown also took home the Viewer's Choice Award for his record Residuals. The moment I heard the record, I had to jump on the challenge. If you have not heard my remix of Chris Brown's Residuals, go ahead and head over to my channel. Check that out. I wrote it about somebody I used to know, and I give y'all a lot in that minute and some change, okay? So check it out in your downtime. I greatly appreciate it. I think it's safe to say this year BET finally got it right after so long. It gave nostalgia. It gave fashion. We got inspirational messages. We got good music. And a little mess always keeps it a little spicy. But I want to hear from you guys. Drop a comment below. What was your favorite moment of the night? Who had the best performance of the night? Who got snubbed? What moment made you be like, oh, they wild for that? What moments did you feel could have been alleviated? I want to hear from you guys. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so you can be the first to be notified when I drop new videos, vlogs, and new music. I have more reviews and more recaps coming super soon, so I hope y'all will stay tuned with me. Until next time, I'm your favorite cousin in music, DJ the Singer. I love y'all. Y'all stay safe, hold it down, and stay far away from haters. They make you itch.